Bone Town's hitting the road come this April. First up, we're heading to Boise, Idaho for TRCMA 2023, where the Cleaner Cast will be streaming live on YouTube. On my channel, it's going to be me and the Canadian cohort, Alex Dewar, keeping you up to date on the Rag Company's biggest event of the year. And then I'm headed to Romeoville, Illinois for a meet and greet hosted by Car Supplies Warehouse. I'm going to be joined by the likes of Han the Organizer, Brian from Apex Detail, Rick from Red Garage, Carlos Serrano, Jessica Tran, Jimbo Balaam, and more. So come on out, come see us. I look forward to seeing you there. Hello, everybody. Back with another week of the Cleaner Cast.
How about that video? Holy smokes.
That's right. I'm Jamie the Cleaner, and on the other side of the virtual podcast studio is the Canadian cohort himself, Mr. Alex Dewar. What's going on, Dewar?
You know, just we're finally warming up after deep freeze this week. I know my Canadian brethren, Rick, up a couple hours north of me, suffered the same fate of our sub-zero temperatures. So
yeah, it looks cold up there.
You know, it's kind of that last sub-zero scenario for the winter season, and then we can get into spring and start getting into really detailing some cars instead of just you know, rinsing them off, getting it done as fast as you possibly can, because it's just going to get nasty again. Yep.
Yeah, it's basically just about full spring here. I mean, it's pretty hot. Yep. It's in the 80s. Got grass coming back. Got some bees in the videos already. I mean,
yeah, I've seen a lot of
down here.
Seen a lot of pollen pictures and videos from people across the U.S. So that's
it's warming up fairly.
I don't envy the pollen people.
That's right.
So that's not fun to deal with.
Yeah, do you like that little video package? Figured I'd make us a little commercial, get the hype going.
I do love it. Yeah, it's fantastic work for sure. I know there's some big hitters going to Chicago. Chicago area, I should say.
It's going to be quite the meet and greet, so it's going to be a good time.
That's kind of dropped on us a little bit it was a surprise, I think, for a lot of people, but excited to catch some video content of that.
Yep, he's been getting it together for some time now, and finally got it all lined up. So it's going to be a pretty good time. All our favorite companies, and including the one we got on today, as hype is building. So get your questions ready. Just get them lined up. Dewar will hit the star and be ready for the Q&A if you got any questions for today's guests. But Dewar, I guess we should knock out some more plugs. You know, with the Cleaner Stash, you can get all my favorite products linked down below, and promo Jamie 10, save you there, DIY detail, all that good stuff. Dewar, you want to hit them with some Dewar detailing news?
Yeah, just want to drop some more people to your new website that our good friend from a few episodes ago made, Mr. Eddie Cologne. Fantastic work. MVP. Whipped it up, and I think he could web design in his sleep. But yeah, our friends at TOC Supplies are getting some stuff in for spring. I'm really excited for that, and just kind of keeping that collab going. And you know the code BuckUVW gets you some money off if you're shopping there. So looking forward to some warmer temps, that's for sure. But to heat things up a little bit, I think we need to bring in our guest.
That's right. Heating things
our hot turtle talk.
Are always, you know, every year coming out with a new line of products. I think Turtle Wax has always done an awesome job at simplifying that car care process for the average consumer, and they've done it for over 75 years plus at this point. I think we're on 77. But yeah, they just keep doing a darn thing. Whether you're looking for a shiny car, this year we're fixing scratches, we're taking care of some stains. And today we have the head of R&D. Everybody, welcome to the cast, Mr. Mike Schultz.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
No, it's a turtle.
A turtle?
Yeah, super turtle.
Everybody wants to get into the act, but I'll stop them because Turtle Wax Auto Polish with Brillium gives your car a super brilliant hard shell finish that protects it like an invisible garage. A full year's supply, only $2.
Turtle Wax gives a hard shell finish. Turtle Wax.
Wax. Mike, how's it going? Welcome to the cast.
Going good. Just quick question. Anybody know what that car was that they used in the commercial? I'll give you a hint. 1955. It was a concept car called the Futura. That car that was a cartoon rendition of it turned out being the Batmobile that Adam West drove in Batman.
There you
Very
go. Shined it up with a little bit of that beryllium, I think it was. Mike, what exactly is beryllium, and is it still used in today's products? Is my first question.
Is it legal?
Well, it's kind of like this. You know, at the time, Turtle Wax was the first company to actually make the first successful liquid wax. Back at that time, it was also mostly paste waxes that were used, or polishes that were really abrasive because you had single state paint to get rid of the oxidation. Ben Hirsch, who was the founder of the company, he was the first one to actually start using silicone polymers back then. And beryllium was actually his own concoction of a blend of waxes and silicone, which no one was using at the time, that he kind of called it beryllium, just to kind of create a unique ingredient for the wax.
Sure. Wow. So that actually had a real answer. I thought it was just going to be like, the marketing department just came up.
It's been with the company 40 years.
I love the year's worth of protection for $2. I think that's the best little comment. But
hey, Turtle Wax always kept it, high quality and affordable. So that's part of the deal. But Mike, before we get into some Turtle Wax problems, I really like that answer to that question. That was interesting. But how did you, Mr. Michael Schultz, make your way to Turtle Wax and become head of research and development over there?
Well, I grew up in this generation of, it was very common in the late 60s, early 70s. Obviously, that's where a lot of the car craziness happened. I was actually, came from a family that really adored and loved to work on cars and soup them up. So I was an alley mechanic back when I was probably in my mid-teens, and every family had either supported a major automobile manufacturer like Dodge or Chevy or Pontiac or Lincoln or Ford. And every family always was very proud of the vehicles that they drove. So I came from this generation and lived in this area where everybody worked on their own cars. So it was kind of like ingrained in my growing up years that became part of me. And just to add to it, I grew up on the beginnings of Route 66, because Route 66 started in Chicago, and Ogden Avenue had every dealership within 2 miles up and down the strip. And as kids, we used to ride our bikes and go to every dealership. You could see every new car. So when October would come around, you'd start at Anderson Ford and make your way all the way out to Tomsek Dodge. And I wish I had all the brochures from the 60s when growing up as a kid. The dealers would let you come into the dealership. You'd grab all the magazines on the new cars. I wish I had them today.
They'd be worth a pretty penny for sure.
Yeah.
So car guy even before Turtle Wax. So now you get to kind of design your own waxes for yourself. Kind of before the cast, you're telling us you may have designed a new product for one of your own cars and it came out great. So the passion was there beforehand. And
I was actually a cosmetic chemist when I graduated from DePaul. I started working at a cosmetic company, and although I was working on hairsprays and shampoos and conditioners, I'd go in the back and I'd start designing my own car waxes and car washes. I had Dr. Romberger was actually helping me with some of the technology. So when the opportunity for a QC manager came up at Turtle Wax back in 1983, I went, yes, all right, here we come.
So it's kind of the same mindset. You're trying to figure out how to condition, the human body cosmetically, and then you transfer it to automotive surfaces. There's some comparisons there. Yeah.
Well, I started in body work. I started in doing body work. I did everybody screws up their first Bondo job when you're doing your first restoration. But you learn. There's an art to that. But I had friends that were mechanical engineers later on in life, and they did the engine work. I did all the body work. My brother and I used to do the body work and paint cars. So I knew how to paint and lacquer and enamel very early on in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the inside out of the automobile, paint from the base layer up, the substrate up is what.
I actually started using clear coats back in the late 70s. I started to clear all my paints, basically to give that extra gloss.
Mm-hmm.
The paints didn't last that long, so when you did spend a lot of time working on it, you wanted that car to look like a mirror, and that's where I learned how to use compounds and wet sand, do wet sanding, and and it became a passion to learn how to paint and how to produce gloss. I mean, the work that I did back then is probably nothing compared to what they do today, but I prided myself on getting rid of orange peel and wet sanding and producing the best gloss. And when you worked with lacquers and enamels, you had to find the right time when it was to sand, because once the paint hardened, it became a little bit difficult to cut. So you want to do your cuts early. If you had a lot of body work, you used a primer filler to kind of help smooth out and get rid of any waves. A good sandable primer where you could do that. So I started that way. And then, like I said, when I came to Turtle Wax, it was kind of like I started to learn so much more. And eventually, at some point in time, I think it was in the early 1990s, I got the opportunity to take over R&D. And I had a lot of fun with it, because with the passion, I was always working on finding the next best finish protectant, the best product to provide shine. There was a product that they had back in the 80s called Colorback. It started in the 50s, but it was a combination of polishing agent. It was kind of like a finish restorer with wax in it. And for a lot of the single stage paints back in the 70s, it did a pretty good job. When the clear coat started to come on board, you had to change your technology to fit that scenario. And you learn by doing. You also sit down with suppliers to help you develop your products and to stabilize them. But you were always looking to solve a particular problem or fit a consumer need. And that was a driving force behind a lot of the products that we launched.
Exactly. Yeah, that kind of takes me back to my original intro statement with Turtle Wax simplifying kind of that car care process. Now, the whole process, like I said, substrate to clear coat to putting protection on it. But like the average Joe just listening in is going to be, I don't know what he's talking about. I can't even figure out how to get the swirl mark off my car. So how exactly does Turtle Wax go about simplifying that process?
Well, first of all, I also answer a lot of questions, consumer questions. We have when you call into the website and you need technical questions, it'll go to research and development, and there's some of the chemists. We all get on and we help answer those questions, but it's also a learning experience. We get to learn from our consumers, what their problems are. That generates new ideas for new products and helps us to try to go down the path of solving a consumer need. Let me give you a quick one. We're going to talk about a new product, but what kind of vehicles are popular today? SUVs, whether it be small SUVs, large SUVs. The day of the sedan and the coupes are kind of disappearing because they're more of the SUVs with either all-wheel drive or some kind of vehicle that's basically fits into the lifestyle of today's consumer. Well, there's a lot of plastic trim.
Take a beating.
A lot of plastic trim. So you have to.
Mom-mobile. That's my market, Mr. Mike. Mom-mobile.
So Mom-mobiles.
Right on board.
Clean up the glitter, the French fries, and the chicken nuggets. So.
Remove some dog scratches. That's every day.
So we work on the inside of the car and the outside of the car when we develop products for those particular consumer needs. I will tell you this. The average consumer that has a problem wants it solved, but they don't want to spend a lot of time doing it. So to your point, what you're bringing up, you're looking for solutions that address the problem directly and are not hard to do. And that's one of the things that we focus on. At least I try to minimize steps to try to provide that essential cleaning, but I also want that wow factor. Okay. When you're using the product, I try to use all 5 senses of the consumer. So when you spray it, you want to have a nice smell so they can smell it. You want them to see it work. Okay. You want them to see the results. You want them to experience the smoothness of the product, how it goes on, how it removes soil, or how it waxes. You want them to have a physical experience with that, and then you want them to see the results. So you take into account a lot of consumer use as part of your attribute to try to help sell the product and get them to sell it to other people as well.
Yeah.
Because they'll tell somebody else.
I think that's what, especially, this year's line of products, I think that's what you kind of focused on. It seemed like solving one particular issue and making it as simple as possible. And I think y'all achieved that. But before we get into the new products, I want to know kind of what the breakdown of the Turtle Wax line is these days, from the green bottles all the way up. Now you got a Pro Series going on. I mean, there's so many levels to it. Can you break it down for us to maybe, if someone out there on the consumer level is a little confused about when should I get a green bottle? When should I get a hybrid solutions? When should I reach for a Pro bottle?
Okay, that's a loaded question. So let's first of all,
good luck.
It's a loaded question, but here, let me just say this, and I've said this before. A lot of consumers that are coming into into car care for the first time, there's nothing wrong with using the green line, what we call our entry level products. They're probably lower cost. They're probably lower cost, but if you want to get the experience of what it's like to take care of a car, these have a low entry price to purchase them. The Zip Wax car wash, I mean, obviously for washing your car. We have some combination wheel and tire cleaners to get actually the brownness off the tires or get the wheels clean. And super hard shell paste is probably a good product to start with. Yeah, it's probably a combination of cleaner. It's a cleaner to take off some bonded contaminants or road film. It'll help address some light swirls and scratches. It's a little bit arduous. You have to apply it to one section at a time, wipe it in, let it dry to a haze, wipe it off. But a lot of people are very satisfied with that. It provides them with the experience, the shine, the gloss, the beading protection. And it's not that hard to do because that regimen is well established. So it's a good place for anyone that is not familiar with car care to start with a variety of protectants. Super hard shell paste is that product that you can basically get started and anybody can do it. Get some microfiber towels or microfiber wash mitts because they're so gentle to the car. They do a better job of cleaning the car and getting better results. But these opening price point, lower end type of products, they're really not opening price point anymore, simply because we did build a lot of technology in, but they're affordable and you can find them just about anyway. So they're very, very accessible and they do a really good job. So I recommend those products for people that maybe have a daily driver, not a specialty car, but a daily driver. You want to maintain that daily. It could be a new car, it could be a used car in good shape. You're not so much in the car care yourself. Maybe you go to the car wash, but you want to take that time on the weekend to make sure the product is done right. You want to address some problems that maybe some swirls or scratches that you have in the car. The products that you just scrolled past are great places to start. A lot of people they'll hit, especially on the plastic bumpers. They'll go to the bank. They hit that yellow pole. They get the yellow paint on the front of the bumper. A lot of those products that you just showed will work just fine. And then there's like the mid-tier products. This is now where you're getting to problem solution. Your headlights are starting to yellow. Your trim is looking a little dull. Maybe you got some more swirls and scratches and you wax over and it's not looking. Now you're starting moving to mid-tier where your hybrid solutions products will come in and they'll do a very good job too. And then you got your higher end products, which is your Pro Series, or you're going to see some examples of that today. And we'll share with you some of that as well. And some of these products are specialized for doing a specific job, and we always try to give the consumer the easiest product to use, but gives the best results. You may pay more for that higher end product, but it's going to do a lot more. It's going to shine better. It's going to give you better durability protection. It's going to address, it's going to be, it's like our liquid compounds. You can use them by hand, but they're also work very well with DAs or rotaries. So the one thing we always try to do, especially when it comes to our compounds, is make sure you give the consumer plenty of work time, because the weather can be different depending on where you're living. And it's essential that that product moves freely while you're working it on the finish. And so we always provide low dusting and plenty of work time for you to get the job done.
I like that. So yeah, green bottles mean go. You're really not going to mess anything up with them. It's a good starting point. And you get a little more skilled, you can get some good stuff in the Hybrid Solutions line, and then all the way to the Pro Series. And I saw that this year we kind of maybe gave the Pro Series a little break to come back to the Hybrid Solutions line. So I wanted to ask, does the Turtle Wax team, start to develop that new batch of products? He came out with the Pro Series, and I think Flex Wax and all this good stuff. And then this year, like, let's go back down, take care of some specific, purposes, and work on the Hybrid Solution line a little bit more. How does that start?
Okay, let's start. So you're probably wondering, where do we get the ideas and how do you get these things started? Well, we subscribe and get some insight data. We have some people that are very good at monitoring the retail environment to
and you got
see
that
what's selling.
call, you got the voice, the customer service goes straight to the R&D department. I really like that. That's very smart. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But we have an insight. We collect insight data, so we watch the sales, and we look to see what consumers are buying. And you can the sales data will tell you what the consumer is gravitating. Let me give you a quick example. When I first started, the dominant form of wax was paste wax. In the 90s, it moved to liquid wax. By the 2000s, it started to go to spray wax. Why? The technology was changing. Car finishes were changing. We went to the advent of clear coat. You still had swirls and scratches, but liquid waxes seemed to work on the softer paints. Softer paints back in the 90s. Then when you got into the Mercedes or some of the harder paint finishes, you had to develop compounds and products that worked on them as well. So you can see that as cars evolved, or the automotive vehicles evolve, we evolve with that. And the other thing we watch is what's relevant to the consumer at the time. Like I said, we went from paste wax, now spray wax is the dominant form. So you can see how that changes, that morphs over time. So we start by watching the consumer needs. The R&D department, the marketing department, we start look to the questions that people are asking. Or do you have a product that does this? I have a problem. Do you have a product that fixes that?
Yeah.
Headlight is a prime example. That started in 2008, 2009. Obviously, we went away from sealed beam headlights in the 90s to all these plastic headlights. And over the years, they started to yellow and they started to turn foggy white. I was actually working with some suppliers that had these precision sanding pads that went all the way from 200 grit all the way up to 10,000 grit.
Holy crap!
These series of pads,
pretty fine.
So there was a series where I was actually working on trying to solve getting rid of scratches with the sanding pads at the time, with a lot of research, and the headlight opportunity came around where all of a sudden we started to hear people using what car wax do you have that has good cleaner that I can use on my headline? Ding, marketing had some ideas there. This couple of small SKUs came out with cleaner polishes, liquid cleaner polishes targeted towards headlights, but it wasn't doing the job for everybody because the variance from light oxidation to really severe oxidation on some of these cars, and like you're in Louisiana, correct? I'm sure you have more oxidation down there on the headlights than than Alex you do up in Canada, depending on the latitude and how much sun it's exposed to, and if the car sits out.
Sun, bugs, people don't wash the bugs off of
Yeah.
it. You know,
all the etchings and all that
bugs
stuff.
and all that.
get ate
So-
up.
So we
Yeah.
developed a kit that worked in all type of scenarios, and it turned out to this day it's our number one. It's the number one selling kit in the market. So it's our
Wow.
headlight restoration kit.
So then
Small
you have
green box. It's in green box. You can find that in all the
Oh, nice.
retailers.
there.
But
So
it's
that
a
kind
good
of
skill.
brings us to, might as well jump into it now, the new products for 2023. You have a new headlight restoration kit. So what's the difference from going green to the hybrid solutions, and why is now the time to kind of revamp the headlight kit?
Okay, I just happen to have one here. It's just
How convenient. I love it.
Convenient.
an empty box because it's not in production yet. So you're getting to see this before.
Okay, it's
before it
early.
hits the
Okay, I
market.
was wondering because I was like, I don't think I've seen that one, but okay.
No,
Yep,
but basically, our headlight kit is number one in units as far as in the average in the Walmarts and the auto chains of the world. It's a top seller, and
Sure.
we actually put number one on it. But it's a great kit. Consumers started asking, they said, your kit lasts about 6 months to maybe a year, but then I have to redo it. Can you do something to make it last a little longer?
there you go. Yeah.
And we made one that was called a speed headlight kit that saved steps, and it's still worked very, very well. But consumers still wanted over 1 year restoration, which is why we developed this one. This is a premium headlight kit. I still had to rely on a sanding pad for this because the sanding pad really knocks off a lot of that physical oxidation, that degraded polymer off the surface, and it really kind of cuts through that to get to the good polycarbonate underneath.
I think a good kit starts with the sanding pad for sure.
Yeah. So we still had to start with the sanding pad, but we also added to the kit. We were working with some other companies, and we added what we called an oxidation remover. If your headlights are really yellow, you probably want to start with that oxidation remover. You rub it on the headlight. It'll take you a few minutes, but you'll see that pad start to turn yellow. It draws out the residual, the monomer that is broken down into yellow that's caught into the matrix of the plastic, draws that out, so your headlight will start to get clearer. So if you got really yellow headlights, you want to start with the oxidation remover first. You'll see the pad literally turn brown on you. And there's 2 pads in there, so you want to use one per headlight to really make sure you get the yellowing out. Wash the headlight off, go to your sanding pad, remove that oxidation.
I like that
also,
you have both steps, because I've seen kits that just go from the little white to the protection, and I've used them before, and that's just not the way to go. You got to have the sanding step, and I'm glad y'all didn't skip on the sanding step.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
And I'm looking where, here we go. So we got and then we have your besides your oxidation, we took one of our best compounds that works. It has our precision platelets in it. So basically, this compound is designed that it has an aluminum oxide, but what this aluminum oxide platelet does is when you put pressure by hand, it self-aligns and slides and glides over the headlight, so it produces really good clarity. And that becomes the foundation. After you do your oxidation remover, your sanding pad, you use this compound to bring back the transparency and the crisp clarity of the lens. And then what we did is we're using a ceramic resin as the sealing wipe, which is actually started working with a company about 4 or 5 years ago. And this coating, I can tell you by personal experience, it's lasting 3 years. So, with the proper prep of the headlight, this sealing wipe is definitely going to give you over a year's worth of protection and transparency. Now, again, I'm here in Chicago. I'm doing physical testing. It might be different in Florida with all the Florida or Louisiana or the southern states. But I guarantee you, when we put this up against our traditional kit, we're probably extending the headlight clarity at least 2 to 3 times.
Awesome. Well, I think with the headlight kits too, it's definitely a safety factor as well. If you're doing a lot of driving in the dark, I mean, it's, people are thinking, oh, my headlights are toast, I'm just gonna, get a new set, whether it be aftermarket or OEM. but it's, a little bit of work can, bring it back to factory fresh, and, you keep on it, and, you're saving money at the end of the day, and also kind of increasing the safety as well. And
Absolutely.
I think another really neat thing, I'm just checking out the kind of description on the website, but I think a great thing is that all the steps are right on the site. If you wanted to check before you buy it, you can kind of see, hey, is this product for me, or do I want to go down the route of, getting someone to do it for me? They can kind of see, hey, it's cut and dry. And even if they are somewhat intimidated, it gives you the flexibility to be, hey, maybe I can do this. And, with Turtle Wax being such a big household name, they're not going to steer you in the wrong direction. And, they're going to make it simple from someone who really cares about their car to someone who could really care less. So I think
Alex,
just that extra little touch is extra.
I'm glad you brought up about the safety because we do promotions in the fall, because obviously when you get into the northern hemisphere, you have short days and you're driving more at night. So we try to do promotions in the fall to get your car ready for the winter, and headlights is one of them. But it's kind of funny. Next time you're out shopping and you walk through a parking lot, just look at the headlights of the cars and go, that car needs it. That car needs it. Consumers don't realize they get used to driving with reduced functionality of their headlight, and they don't realize that if you're going to take the time to either go to the car wash or take care of the car yourself, take a look at your headlights. And your taillights too, because this kit will also work on the taillights.
Yeah, and certain headlights now are not cheap. You have all kinds of leveling motors and different, things, a lot more moving parts than just a single, like we mentioned earlier, the steel beam. My first car had steel beam headlights, and you don't replace the bulb, you replace the whole darn thing. And now, there's so much involved with the headlight that why wouldn't you want to restore it?
Yeah, my daughter has a Jeep Grand Cherokee. $1,700 for one headlight.
Yeah, that's
headlights and windshields are getting quite expensive. But so Mike, we got more products to go down. One recently that I've seen, the old Fill and Seal scratch kit. I've had a couple vehicles come in with dog scratches. And, they're just like, I don't even know if these can come out. And I'm like, well, I'm glad they don't know about the new scratch and fill and seal kit. And they brought it to me. But go ahead and break it down for us. This is really simplified compound, in the clear coat wipe. So break it down for us.
This is actually one of the products I developed. This one. I was working on this for a couple of years, probably more than a couple of years. But I started out with a product called Scratch Repair and Renew. The platelet compound, the platelet technology that I talked about, the platelet abrasives that self-align. We work with a lot of our retail partners, and we collaborate. And I love to talk to the store managers. So when I'm at a trade show, I love to talk to because they have so much insight and information on what consumers come in to see. One of the issues is with scratches. The number one term searched on Google is how to get rid of a scratch.
Yep, sure.
And the problem is there's a lot of consumers. Your eyes go right to that scratch when you have it, and they just want to get rid of it. And there's so many different products out there, and I've always focused on what can I do for the consumer. They're not going to know how deep a scratch is, whether it's a surface scratch or if it's half a mil down. They're not going to know that. But what can I do to help them to minimize that scratch? So we produced this product called Scratch Repair and Renew, which it would have been number one in the market if a couple of more retailers would have picked it up, but the sales were phenomenal on it. It's one of our best sellers because I took the guesswork out. I took these self-aligning platelet abrasives, aluminum oxide, and the consumer just follows a pattern where they put it on the cloth, and you work for 30 seconds along the scratch, and then you check your workout, check how well you did, wipe it off, and you can do it for an additional 3 regimens, and you can minimize that scratch. Okay, now that took care of that whiteness or that visible, and kind of helped make it invisible. But this one goes a lot further. So this kit is more professional results. You're going to get probably 90 to 95% of a professional repair with this. What do I mean? Sometimes a lot of times you get scratches. and they'll have to either repaint or they'll have to re-clear coat the area because of the fact that the scratch is so deep. So what I did was I came up with a partner that helped us with it's called a wipe-on clear coat. A wipe-on clear. It's a double active clear coat that basically anybody can apply. It comes with you don't have to use a sanding pad on this. You don't.
This is one I'm kind of glad you don't have the sanding pad on it, because you get people, get the average consumer out there with a sanding pad on paint.
Headlights are okay when it comes to. You put sanding pads on a finish, you're asking for a lot of trouble, especially when your clear coats are only 1 to 1.5 mils to maybe 2 mils thick at the most. So basically what I did is we worked with the marketing team, and we came up with a kit that basically has a compound. And what you want to do is you want to look at your scratch. You want to use the compound to clean the scratch. In other words, sometimes like on a black or dark color car, like a red car, if you get that scratch that you can feel with your fingernail, it has a whitish appearance because the clear coat is actually somewhat damaged. You want to use the compound to clean what I call clean the wound. Clean the wound out, get it to where that scratch is at least transparent, where you get rid of any of the the whiteness, or kind of smooth out the depth of the scratch so it looks somewhat transparent, at least when it's wet with water or wet with compound. Once you clean that up, we have a foam block in there. And basically there's a roll of non-linting, non-woven materials. You fold it in half. In fact, I'm going to open up the kit so I can show you.
All righty.
Beautiful.
So here's the kit. Here's the roll. Here's the compound that we talked about. This is its precision platelets. This is a professional compound. So it's got a little bit more cut to it. And then we have our foam block. Now the foam block is important and then we have a glove in there if your skin is sensitive to chemicals. There's a glove that you can wear.
Always recommend proper PPE.
But the foam, so what you want to do is you want to take one, after you clean the scratch, make sure you get rid of the whiteness. You want to take one non-linting applicator, you want to fold it in half. Okay? Take your foam block, and it just magically fits to the same diameter or the same diameter of the block. You want to wrap the block.
Basically to mimic a little sanding block, if you will.
But the important
listeners of the podcast,
but this one here, this pad here becomes like a paint applicator. Okay, so you can wipe on a clear coat, and it goes on smooth. There's no rivulets. It just goes on smooth. This pad is important for that.
So you apply one wipe.
One wipe. But you're going to find out once you use this kit, you're going to start addressing all the little defects on your car. And that typically happens when I have a consumer and they test the kit. Now you're going to see that there's a restricted orifice on here. So you get 15 mLs of resin. It's probably enough to do a half of a car.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
This looks reminiscent, to a ceramic coating bottle, but this isn't a ceramic coating. This is a clear coat resin.
That's great. It's very high actives. So what you want to do is you just turn this upside down and just rub it on the cloth. And what you'll notice, you're turning your wipe into a paint pad. So now I have exactly, it's coated enough that I can wipe this over, and you could do small areas, large areas. The one thing I like about this kit is usually when you're using spray paint or touch-up paint, once it's on there, you're kind of done. You can apply this over the scratch, and the clarity you get and the coverage you get is exactly what it's going to look like when it dries. So if you didn't clean up the scratch enough and you see some things popping through, some defects popping through, and you can just take a microfiber towel, wipe it off, go back with your compound, clean up that scratch a little bit more, and you can do this again. You got 20 minutes of work time with the resin. Okay, 20 minutes.
So this has some hardeners like clear coat. It's really going to harden up after that 20 minutes and really
it's going to be harder. And what's going to happen? It's going to flash dry in probably 20 minutes, and you can wash the car, but try not to put anything, waxes or anything at that time. Yeah. It's going to take a full 24 to 48 hours for it to cure. And then if you decide that you want to feather in a repair, it's going to be very shiny. This coating is actually probably going to be shinier than your paint, especially if it's an older car. Yeah. You can use your compound then to feather in that repair.
Nice.
I see.
Just like a professional would. Once you start and you treat that scratch, you're going to find that you're going to find other defects on the car. Maybe there's some, usually it's the bumper. They'll clean up the bumper and you'll notice some road rash, what I call road rash.
Right.
You know how you're driving at 70 miles an hour and what happens? You get the stone pebbles that kind of chip the clear coat and you have all those little white dots on the front, especially on a darker car, black or blue. What you can do is you can take one of these cloths, treat it, and then wipe the whole front bumper with this and fill in that road rash.
Yeah.
And it'll make all those little white specks disappear and look more uniform and clear. Every person that I brought into the lab and I've given this kit to treat a scratch, they see how easy it is. And the next thing you know, they're going, oh, I got this on the bumper. I'm going to take care of this. Oh, I got this on the back bumper. I'm going to take care of this. Oh, my backup lights, are looking a little foggy. They're going to treat that and re-clear coat that. So there's a lot of latitude with the kit. This wipe on clear coat is the magic. Okay. It is the magic part of the kit. If you're a professional and you want to use more professional compounds to take care of that scratch, but you still need to use a touch-up paint or clear coat, I've gotten away. There's certain color coats that if you're filling in chips, if you put the touch-up paint in the chip, don't let it harden right after you apply it. Apply this and smooth it. It'll level and clear coat the chip at the same time.
Oh,
so now, when the paint dries, you may still see a little bit of a void in there, but we know what happens when you use touch-up paint. It doesn't stay in the void. It gets all over. And you want to get rid of that excess paint that's on the surface paint. This will wipe it right off and clear coat it and make it more professional.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely an art to it.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So that was a really big baby for you. This product line was the clear coat.
Every customer that we've showed this kit, they go, we want this. This one is probably getting 100% distribution.
Like I said, I just did, some dog scratches, and if they caught wind of that, I'd have been out of job. That would have done it right there because just so easy, and I think it would have worked great on it.
Yeah, but it's scratch repair we made easy. I guarantee you, if somebody has a scratch and they can polish out some of the scratch with the compound, this coating is definitely going to make that finish look a lot better.
Yeah. Yep. So if we're through, the clear coat and the paint coat, if we're to base, it's not really going to help. There's nothing
but you could use this in conjunction with your touch-up paint.
With your touch it, like you were saying. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now we're going. All right. Well, let's get on to some more stuff. I very much enjoy the spot clean. Just spray, scrub with a towel, boom. Stain is, super powered. So what the heck is Oxy Hyperfoam? Let's go there.
Okay. What this product, again, it's addressing, it turns out that in today's day and age with really if you go inside the car, what do you got? A choice of it's either black carpet, but a lot of tan carpet, right? It's either tan, black, or gray. They're usually what you see inside the car now. The biggest problem that you have is those instant spills and how to clean them up. A lot of carpet on the inside of the cars. Even your floor mats are almost like designer type of floor mats on new cars, and you want to keep it clean. And the best way to get those, take care of those stains, is to take care of them right away. Try not to let them dry and set in. Now, what this product is designed to do is it delivers a foam. Let me see if I can do this for you.
Yeah, it delivers a nice thick foam. It sets real dry, sets on top of the carpet. You're not oversaturating. I really like it.
Yeah, I was watching some videos on it from SEMA this year, and it was like you spray it on, and that mat looked toast. And you spray it on there, and they just wiped it off, and I'm like, okay, what kind of magic is in that?
But here's the trick. A lot of time, your surface soils, if you use something like water, what happens with water? Water penetrates the nap of the carpet, gets down into the padding, gets down low, and you may be able to clean that spot, but that spot will stay wet for quite some time. And sometimes what will happen, it'll wick other soils and it'll leave a ring. The secret to this thing is we're creating this foam that is basically on the surface, okay? So it's not going to wet. It's not going to go through the layers. I don't know if you can see this. It's not going to wet all the way through. It's just going to stay on the surface. It's not going to go all the way through. So sometimes if you want to get rid of surface soil, you concentrate your cleaner right where the surface soil is, allows you to scrub it in without totally saturating the carpet and causing rings to happen, and be able to wipe that stain away, and it'll dry in 5 to 10 minutes. So it's more of a stain remover that allows you to take care of the problem without leaving the carpet and the padding totally saturated. Take care of the problem where it is, wipe it away, use a dry towel to finish it out, and you're less likely to get a ring. Where it totally saturates into the carpet and then draws things that are underneath the carpet back up through the carpet, which can sometimes
back up.
Leave stain.
Yes. So I have a professional carpet system. It's like 3 parts. So for the normal person doesn't want to get 3 different chemicals, work their way through the system. I mean, Spot Clean pretty much nails the process. I think a big home run this year. But so we've restored headlights, we've fixed scratches, we've cleaned carpet. Mike, I know one of your favorites in the line has been Pure Shine. You were telling us before the show you made it for your own car. So tell us a little bit about Pure Shine.
That's the real baby in the lineup. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Basically, marketing. We've had some success with our Pro Series and with graphene, and we know that consumers, there's been a lot said about durability and coming up with coatings and spray coatings to give you that durability. But shine is still important to the consumer. Today's finishes are flawless, and you want them to look its best. And this is a detail that's really infused with graphene. I designed this formula. What I was telling the guys is I actually designed this for my own car. So it took me about 1.5 years. And I know it works because this last year I started winning trophies like crazy. The glossiness. I have a 69. I have a 69 GTO with It's dark green metallic with a clear coat, and obviously certain products. And I see this a lot on Corvettes, the black Corvettes or the bright red with. People will overuse spray waxes and detailers, and you start to see streaks all over the paint. They over-apply things, and they try to apply it in direct sunlight. And I wanted to solve that problem. So I also, the big thing when you're at a car show or at a cruise night is you wind up with a lot of dust accumulation on the car.
People just like to wipe down their cars too, like at the car show, just to do it sometimes. But the dust will accumulate, so it is time for a proper wipe down.
Usually the upper stair. So I designed this product with all negatively charged chemistry. Why did I do that with all negatively charged chemistry? Because dust in the air is negatively charged. And if you remember from your simple science class, similar charges repel each other. So 2 positive charges push themselves apart, and 2 negative charges will push themselves apart.
So it's going to have some good anti-static properties.
Right. By the chemistry.
I think my favorite part is the Flairosol sprayer that's on it, because
I've really enjoyed y'all's Flairosol line.
That's it's triggers are fun, but I mean this stuff I've used that kind of sprayer for like household cleaning stuff, and it's great. And I mean a car stuff, especially like a product like that where especially when it's not gonna streak on you, or applying it to a fairly large panel, because some of those old cars are quite large, and the hoods are 5 or 6 feet long sometimes, and just getting even application too, and no kind of hot
classic will come in. You're like, man, this thing is huge.
But the sprayer I think is a big bonus.
So
and the thing is, the more you pump it, the more it acts like an aerosol. That's why they call it a Flairosol. The more you pump it, it gives you a more continuous stream or fan spray. What I like about the product with the graphene is, sometimes you wipe down a car and there's a lot of static charges. Well, the graphene helps to neutralize those charges, and because it's all negative,
I see.
you don't get the crackling of your microfiber coming off because it's negatively charged. It helps the graphene helps to, it's a great conductor of electricity, so it helps to spread that charge out, so you don't get some of those static charges. The other beauty about this product, there's a polymer in here, a polymer in there that actually builds layers of shine. So the more you use it, the more shine you can build. And
Nice.
That's what people were noticing on my car. Like I said, I would go to cruise nights, and a couple of guys from work would go with me, and I'd open up my trunk and I'd have my experimentals in there. And sometimes I would take that experimental and go out there and try this, and I'd try it and I go, put that one back in the trunk. It's not working.
Yeah.
So I failed a lot.
That can't see the light of day.
I failed a lot because you start to push the envelope on what you can do, and you really want people to enjoy it. It has a great scent. It has something called a honeyed apple scent. So when you spray it, again, that whole experience when you're using something, it's going to smell great when you're using it. It's going to deliver that streak-free shine, no streak. It can be used on all exteriors, plastics, chrome, even glass. I use it on glass. It's a detailer. And but I don't use it on dirty cars. This is not designed for dirty cars. This is a topper. This is something you want to get your foundation protection package down, and you want to use this to really get the next level of gloss, and also help seal any light swirls you might have on the car. But it also gets rid of any streaking. So that's one of the big pluses about
I used it for a coating topper, 12 after coating cures right before the client came and picked it up, pulled out some pure shine, gave it a wipe down, gave it that nice anti-static layer, sent them home happy, extra shine, big win. So viewer, it's time for some Q&A. I'm sure we're probably backed up at this point, Mike.
A little bit. And one thing I was going to say too with the pure shine, or even having that good base layer, but having the products that work on glass too, again, tying back to the safety aspect, is if you can drive and the water's flying off your windshield, I mean, why not? I'm sure we've all kind of dealt with our really nasty rainstorms, and even with Mike and I dealing with snow, we know how much it can really affect vision.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jamie's not so versed in the snow side of things, but I mean, it's any bit you can do on people's vehicles to make it safer, I think is super important.
But like it says, pure shine. So does that mean like zero protection?
No, there's some protection. It's going to bead water. It's just that I didn't design it that way, because when you start putting substantive chemistry on there, now you're interacting with the finish. And I just really wanted something to pop that shine, get that metallic to stand out, have that black car look deep, rich, and black, and that you can reach your hand through it. That's what that was all about. Yes, it will give you some protection, but it's not designed for protection. It's designed for maximum shine, no streaking, buildable layers, so you can build layers of shine.
Heck yeah. All right.
The comment section has a lot of kind of throwback stories of people using turtle wax stuff with their parents, grandparents, different family. A lot of compliments. Larry Singleton here says that making some great products lately. The Hybrid Solutions wheel and tire cleaner is a killer and my go-to. And that seems like a super wicked product. I mean, it's kind of all
had it on hand.
Yeah,
that one's really good.
He's ready to go.
We did a soft launch with this last year. We only got it in. We did a soft launch when we launched this, and it went into a couple of accounts. But this has the iron removing chemistry in it, and it's safe. It's safe to use on factory wheels. I don't recommend this on custom aluminum or anodized aluminum, because it is a very, very strong cleaner. This is an actual Darren Herbert in marketing. He did this deliberately so you could see the brown that actually it removes from not only the tire but from the wheel. So that's an actual cleaning shot. We didn't want to show a beauty shot. We just want to show, hey, how this works. We're going to show you how this really works. But sales, and then we did a soft launch, and then we're kind of launching it this year into some of the major retailers to say, hey, you're missing an opportunity, and sales are very, very strong.
Yep. And yeah, and also with Larry, because Turtle Wax obviously has a international presence. Hybrid Solutions Flex Wax is also durable. One Australian tester is testing it against one of the best spray waxes in Australia, Bowden's own bead machine. So, it's a heavy hitter, and it's available worldwide. Just kind of looking at the timeline on the website, with looks like in 1990 there was a lot of global expansion, and it's everywhere you look, it's there. Big box stores, small places, it's everywhere.
Well, I give a lot of credit to we always had the technology to make superior products. And the R&D staff, like I said, we have a lot of experience there. Fred Joseph is one of the ones that came out with, found some polymers that really to boost durability of a lot of our spray waxes and liquid waxes. Mm-hmm. And we know there were a lot of torture tests out there. And we tried to mimic some of that because consumers were doing it. They were interested how well this thing was, the product would stand up under severe conditions. Mm-hmm. And we were able to get some real notoriety that, hey, Turtle Wax products are really pretty durable compared to some of the boutique products that are out there.
Sure.
So, we got a lot of, we've got a lot of recognition that, we're not your father's car wax anymore. We're really very trendy. We're up to date. We watch, we subscribe to a lot of automotive design magazines. So we're being very cognizant of the materials that are being used in today's automobiles. We get those materials and we develop products to help clean and maintain them and to beautify them.
Mm-hmm. So when y'all came out with the Seal and Shine, that was in the Iceland, the line, not Iceland, the ice line. Is the ice line still around? We didn't touch it.
The spray wax is still around. Again, you got to remember, ice. I was the father of the ice liquid when that first came out. That was something I would talk to consumers and they would wash their own car. But if you remember, probably in the 90s, 2000, there was a lot of black plastic trim on cars. And when you got car wax on the black trim, it left a ugly white splotch. You didn't know it right away, but 2 weeks later, all of a sudden you see all this white residue around the trim line and everything. So ice came out and addressed, it was one product you could use on the paint, the chrome, the plastic trim, do the whole car, and the car looked great. That's what's launched that. And then we did the same thing because, as we talked about, how people gravitated in the 90s and the 2000s from liquids to sprays, we had to do a version of it in spray, which turned out to be one of the pivotal products that lasted to this day.
Yep, the ice.
The detailer is still out there, and the spray wax is still out there.
Yeah, that's when I think Jimbo Balin had a hold of a good bottle of ice spray wax, and the Turtle Mania began, as to say. So when y'all developed the Seal and Shine, did y'all know it was going to be that tough?
Actually, it's kind of funny you bring that up. That product was designed specifically for a European partner. They were looking. This is where Fred Joseph stepped in. He was working with one of the chemists and some of the marketers over in Europe, and they were looking for a product that you could wash the car because they had a kind of a hose band problem in Europe. They weren't allowed to. They had a water shortage, and they wanted to be able to wash the car, put on a spray wax or sealant, and just wash the car. And instead of drying it, they wanted to be able to drive off and have the car self-dry. And we kind of, when we saw that challenge, they go, well, there's sealer waxes they use in car washes for that reason. Well, the sealer wax, and they put a blower on it and they blow it off. But it turned out to be more of a challenge than we thought. And Fred actually started working with some polymers, and they actually found that polymer that was so hydrophobic that water would fall off at low angles. Very low angles. And that became the trick to our durability, and it was tenacious. He asked me to help him a little bit because he was having some streaking problems with it. So again, when the R&D team gets together, we work as a team. It may have been Fred's project, but everybody gets together to help create that successful product. And so we learned how to control the bonding of the polymer to kind of slow it down, so your consumer had more time to spread it and get more of a uniform coating. Because when Fred was first working with it, where you sprayed is where it stayed. And so he wound up with very hot spots of streaking spots, and we had to slow the cure so the consumer had more time to get that to flow out. So we work as a team. I'm very proud of my team. Everybody are in the R&D department and our marketing department. They're all auto enthusiasts. Some of our salespeople are auto enthusiasts. They really gravitate towards getting that next hero product out there that does something more than we've already provided the consumer. So that's that drive. There's no shortage of innovation at our company, believe me.
Very cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah,
Ryan,
we're going into a little overtime action. So let's get through these questions.
Yeah, a couple of last questions. Ryan was asking when the Pro Series got released. I must have missed it.
It was 2021, 2022. It was to the Max Wax. We had one and done compound. The Flex Wax was part of that Pro Series. And where it was intended to be towards more that professional, but we're trying to get more users in it. So we're making it more consumer friendly and available to auto enthusiasts as well as the professional.
And we'll need bigger sizes. Bigger sizes coming with that Pro Series soon.
We have looked at the Pro Series in bigger sizes. I don't think we've gotten there yet. I've seen some of the prototypes, but I think part of the issue is shipping. I think that's one of the issues where we're working on.
Okay.
I know Kimberly MC is the headlight restoration noob friendly, which I think it looks like, with the little demo there. I think that's kind of
it's pretty new. I remember using a headlight kit early 20s, and it had 3 or 4 sanding blocks in it, and you had to go through all the stages, So one sand block, pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, this kit is, like I said, this kit is pretty easy to use. Like I said, got rid of the sanding pad. There's only one sanding pad in here. We got rid of the multiple sanding pads because we built the better compound that works better with that sanding pad. So we're trying to make the experience a little bit easier, less arduous. Like I said, you got the oxidation remover to draw out the yellowing. You've got the compound, which is it's very similar to our one and done compound. It has the same platelet technology for cutting through the scratches left over by the sanding pad and create that flawless clear plastic. And then like I said, then the resin that we're applying in there is a ceramic resin that, like I said, I have experience that I've got it on vehicles and headlights for over 3 years.
Nice. And to finish it off, Miller Detailing. Hey, Michael, I know you're on the chemistry side of things, but do you know how I can get a Turtle Wax Hybrid Solutions banner? Always check the website. No luck. Loving the new products, and thanks.
Well, I'm not in marketing, but Holly, if she's, you know that Holly's watching this program, and send your questions to our Turtle Wax website, and I'm sure we'll help you out there.
Perfect. Well, that's all we got for questions there.
The detailer chimed in at the bottom. He said, he was also asking about when he wants some 5-gallon pails. Guys are out there looking for these bigger products. So, we answered that though.
Again, you know what? You can help us out. Send your questions directly to the Turtle Wax website and what you're looking for. The more questions we get, the better we'll be able to answer them. So don't be shy. Ask your questions. We love it. We love the feedback we get from our customers or interested parties. It helps us to develop better SKUs and better products that to meet your needs.
There you go. Call that Turtle Wax hotline. It goes straight to the R&D department that we learned today, which is just awesome.
Very cool.
So, Mike, it's been an absolute pleasure. Heck of a show, and we thank you for coming on the cast.
Jamie and Alex, thank you very, very much for having me here tonight.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it.
And if your consumers have any, your customers or your audience has any questions, like I said, go to the Turtle Wax website. I'm more than happy to help you out.
There you go.
Sounds good.
Do you got anything before we go?
No, that's it. Just have a wonderful weekend, and I will. If you're dealing with the cold, stay warm. If you're dealing with the heat, stay cool. So
it's getting warmer. Just remember that
warmer.
every day is a little longer.
Yep, absolutely.
Detail season is upon us. So everybody,
sure is.
That's all we got for this one. Again, Turtle Wax, big shout out, big thank you to all you guys who lined this up. Took some planning, but we did it. Mike, absolute pleasure. We'll have to do this again in the future for sure. But we'll see you down the road. Everybody else in the comments, thanks for coming. Stay clean. We'll be back next week.
All right.